A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Mamelodi Sundowns and Neo Maema. So, this is a feature-focused episode where I focus on the left-footed magician and have a look at how he's progressing so far at Mamelodi Sundowns. And of course, end the episode off with the big question: can he become Mamelodi Sundowns' next great playmaker? So, Neo Maema then is a player who was signed from Bloemfontein Celtics, and there was a lot of speculation with regards to this signing because of the star-studded quality that Mamelodi Sundowns have and how many options they have in various departments, especially when it comes to those creative positions. So, the question then was asked, why Neo Maema? And Coach Rulani answered, well, Mamelodi Sundowns have left-footed players who are able to develop the game, but they don't have a left-footed player who is well adept at playing within the final third. And he then went on to say that having a left-footed player is paramount when it comes to the style that Mamelodi Sundowns do love to impose and institute. So Neo Maema is the answer. In a sense, then, he went on to say that Keegan Dolly was never replaced, so Neo Maema would fit that mold. And when you have a look at Neo Maema, fast forward a couple months later and you have a look at the status quo, this is a player who's doing really well for Mamelodi Sundowns, and I think that he's really growing, and he's growing in such a way that a lot of people didn't really expect, especially when you look at how many quality players that Mamelodi Sundowns have. But when you look at his talent, and if you had followed him from his days at Bloemfontein Celtics, you could always tell that this is a player who, if he plays for a certain team with the right kind of coaching, he could always become a well-refined player. And I still think that he's developing. Yes, he's shown glimpses here and there, but I still think that there's so much more that there is to come from Neo Maema. And currently, he's won back-to-back Man of the Match DStv Premiership Awards against Maritzburg United and Marumo Gallants respectively, and he also sits at the top of the assist standings within the DStv Premiership. He currently sits on 4 assists, and he scored a worldie of a goal against Golden Arrows within the MTN 8. But where does this left-footed magician like to do his work? So Neo Maema then is a playmaker who tends to drift into various pockets, and like the system requires when it comes to Mamelodi Sundowns and being that creative player, it requires you to be quite the free-flowing, fluid-thinking footballer. So at times you will see him popping up in the right-sided half space. At times you'll see him popping up on the right side. At times he will pop up into central pockets and central zones. At times you'll find him within zone 14. But the pocket of space that he tends to slightly favor is the left-sided half space, and sometimes then vertical zone 1, but it's mainly vertical zone 2 in the left-sided half space. And this is a player then who's well adept at manipulating the ball in tight pockets of spaces, very comfortable then at also receiving the ball under pressure and then knowing what to do with it. I think 2 great attributes that he has is that A, he's got a football brain, and B, his technical ability is well refined, and he is the ambidextrous player who's well adept at also using his right foot. And if there's 2 moments that have stood out for me so far for Neo Maema in a Mamelodi Sundowns shirt, well, A is the game against Golden Arrows within the semi-final of the MTN 8, where he pops up in this half space, just outside the box. He's one-on-one with these men. He can either go on the outside and take him and maybe look to use his left foot. But what he does is he cuts in and then he hits it first time into the top corner. And for me, that was a moment of brilliance, especially considering the fact that he is a left-footed player. So for him to be able to use his weaker foot in that manner was absolutely phenomenal. I think that goal is one of the best goals I've seen so far this season. And then if there was a moment where I think he matches it or even betters that goal, is his assist for Peter Shalulile against Maritzburg United. So against Maritzburg United, Sundowns were obviously the team in fine form, dominating proceedings, dominating possession, and yeah, they just kept knocking, and they just couldn't find that goal. Until then, Neo Maema, in this pocket of space, in this left-sided half space, deep, by the halfway line, he gets the ball, and he's then able to play such a beautiful ball, which eliminates all the Maritzburg United players who are in their own half, eliminates all these players, and he plays that ball into Peter Shalulile, and Shalulile finishes first time. And what I loved about that then is that this is then a player who's able to pull a rabbit out the hat whenever his team need him to come up with a moment of brilliance, especially considering the fact that as a playmaker, there are those games where it is tight, it is difficult, and maybe on the day the keeper is having a great game, or maybe on the day the defense is just so resolute and so solid, but that one moment of magic that you come up with is what wins you the game for your team, and that was it against Maritzburg United. That alone just showcases his technical ability. And what I love then about his passing ability is that his passes, you get two types of passes. The first pass is a pass where as a player, when you receive it, you still have to decide, what am I going to do with this pass? The second type of pass is a pass that tells you what you have to do with the ball. And his type of passes have been of such. And especially when he looks then to find that assist. But specifically in this moment against Maritzburg United, where he finds Peter Shalulile, that pass into Peter Shalulile, it tells Shalulile that you have to hit it first time. And that's it. Pass it into the back of the net. And also tactically versatile by virtue of the fact that he could fit into multiple and various formations that Sundowns do love to institute. So at times they would go with the 4-3-3. At times they would go with the 4-2-2-2. At times it transitions to a 3-4-3. At times it could even transition into a 3-6-1 whenever they are in the opposition half. So he is a player that fits into all of those systems and all of those formations for this Mamelodi Sundowns side. And I just think going forward, this is a player who can grow so much in the Mamelodi Sundowns team. And I think that if he keeps working hard, he keeps developing, and he keeps refining his skill set from a tactical and technical perspective, I think he can go on to become the next great Mamelodi Sundowns playmaker. However, for now, it's all about him growing, taking it one game at a time, and finding that consistency and momentum. So, ladies and gentlemen, do let me know, what do you make of this special feature episode I did on Neo Maema? What do you make of him? And do you guys think that he can become the next great playmaker at Mamelodi Sundowns? Or do you just feel like he's just had a good start and maybe he will struggle going forward? So thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Leon. Signing out.